It started out like any other Sunday. I was sitting on the porch swing with my coffee, scrolling through my phone, while my wife, Haley, was in the front yard watering her lilies. We just moved into this so-called luxury community in Hillside Acres, where the HOA bragged about safety, order, and tight-knit neighbors. We figured it was just overhyped marketing. Nothing prepared us for what was coming. A white SUV screeched into our driveway. Sirens blaring, except they weren't real sirens. It was a distorted speaker noise. And the flashing lights were literally duct taped to the roof. I thought it was a prank until the driver stepped out. Black cargo pants, a tan shirt with a cheap-looking security patch, and a plastic badge clipped to his belt like he was cosplaying as a mall cop. But the handgun on his hip looked terrifyingly real. He stormed across the yard, barking nonsense. This fence is in violation of Section B32. Step off the lawn immediately or face citation and removal. I blinked, stunned. The fence was freshly installed, city approved, and permitted. Before I could get a word out, he pulled the gun, right there, on my wife. Haley turned around slowly, watering can still in hand, wearing yoga pants and a messy bun. She looked him dead in the eye and said, "Excuse me?" Hands in the air. HOA enforcement. You're under citizen's arrest for hostile trespassing. My heart dropped. I stood up, shouting, "That's my wife. This is our property. Are you insane?" But he was locked in, tunnel vision, and that's when he made his last mistake. In less than 3 seconds, Haley disarmed him, twisted his wrist, kicked his legs out, and had him face down in the grass. Calmly, she pulled zip ties from his belt and hogtied him like a Sunday roast. Then she leaned in and said, cold as ice, "Next time you point a weapon at me, you better make it count." He didn't move, didn't scream, just lay there stunned. I was still processing when Haley said, "Call the real police." 2 squad cars showed up 10 minutes later. I expected a "thank you for stopping an armed lunatic." Instead, the officers approached with caution, hands near their weapons. "We got a report of a firearm incident." One said, "Is that him?" "Yep," I said. "He pulled a gun on my wife." The cop turned to her. "Ma'am, did you assault this man?" Without a word, Haley pulled out her federal ID. Delta Force. Active duty. I neutralized an armed threat on my property, she said flatly. The officers stepped back. One whispered, "You're still active?" She nodded. "Just got back from a mission last month." The fake cop whimpered. "I didn't know. I thought she was just some housewife." "Wrong house," she said. "Wrong wife." They cuffed the impersonator, confiscated his weapon, and ran his info. Turns out, he was just a glorified HOA volunteer with no credentials, just fantasies and access to firearms. But that wasn't the worst part. The next morning, 3 HOA officials showed up by a smug man in a wrinkled suit. He demanded we turn over all footage and documentation of the incident, claiming it was now HOA business. Haley stepped forward. "Got a warrant?" The man stuttered. "This can be handled internally. Neighbor to neighbor." She folded her arms. "Your enforcer pointed a loaded weapon at a federal operative. This isn't neighbor to neighbor. This is criminal." We started digging. What we found was more disturbing than we ever imagined. Through a hacked backdoor in the HOA's website, Haley accessed a hidden tab labeled ED Enforcement Division. It listed names, gear checklists, patrol schedules, and notes like "handles confrontation well," "solo raid approved," and "elevated response authorized." This wasn't HOA oversight. It was a militia. We talked to neighbors. An elderly widow fined $500 for unkempt bushes she couldn't even see. A young couple harassed for noise during a barbecue. A single dad found a GPS tracker under his truck. This wasn't about rules, it was about control. And behind it all was one name, Patricia Dale. She had no photo, no official title listed online. Yet she'd filed complaints, issued fines, and donated to the HOA's Security Expansion Fund. Haley said, "I want to meet her. She's not the mastermind. She's the puppet master." We surveilled the HOA office, what was supposed to be a simple records shack by the pool. But inside were servers, radios, monitors, live security feeds, including one streaming our front porch. That night, Haley infiltrated the office under cover of darkness. What she found confirmed our worst fears: tactical gear, fake ID cards, raid logs, and a file labeled Primary Threat, Lot 17. That was our address. Then came the warning. A box on our doorstep. Inside, a dead crow. The note: "Stay out of her business. You're being watched." Haley bagged the evidence, labeled it, and froze it. Treat it like a foreign threat. DNA. Prints, everything. We launched what she called Operation Wipeout. Covert surveillance. Footage of illegal night patrols. One volunteer had a holstered weapon again. They weren't just watching, they were entering yards, tailing teens, yelling fake curfew violations. We compiled everything into a report. Video, photos, logs, and we sent it to the mayor, police, and state attorney. But instead of backup, a supervisor called. "You're harassing HOA volunteers. Lay low." Haley's response: check page 27. That night, we took it public, uploaded surveillance footage to an anonymous drive folder, sent it to every neighbor, every council member, and every local reporter. The story exploded. Then Melissa came forward, Patricia's former assistant. She'd seen everything: secret meetings, blackmail files, target lists. She told Tyler to pull that gun. She whispered, "She runs everything. She doesn't trust anyone outside her circle." We added Melissa's statement to the evidence and sent it to the state attorney general. That night, someone bombed our mailbox. Not lethal, but loud. The next day, 2 other families found their tires slashed. Someone painted "rat" in red across a driveway. Patricia's HOA sent a letter claiming a gang was targeting the neighborhood and warned residents not to trust anyone spreading false info. But we had the people now. The leaked video changed everything. A court date was set. Emergency hearing. The judge? A retired colonel known for cracking down on corruption. Patricia showed up in a white blazer, flanked by her enforcers. But the moment Haley testified, calm, direct, Delta Force badge in hand, the courtroom shifted. Then we played the footage of Tyler pulling the gun. Next up, Mock, a friend and military tech expert, explained the illegal surveillance, the raid plans, the target lists. Melissa brought it home. She told the court about Patricia's secret ops, her phrases like urban cleansing and behavioral control. The judge leaned back and said, "This isn't an HOA. This is a domestic militia. Patricia Dale, you are hereby remanded into custody." Outside, the community gathered, not cheering, but clapping slowly. Haley didn't wave. She walked straight past them like she'd finished one more mission. That night, the HOA board was dissolved. Melissa was appointed interim president. The patrol trucks were stripped. The office gutted. Drones, badges, weapons seized. A week later, the community nominated Haley as their new safety advisor. She agreed on one condition: no guns, just training, self-defense workshops, know your rights seminars. The patrol SUV became a mobile first aid station. The surveillance room turned into a movie theater. Neighbors brought lemonade to each other's porches again. And in our freezer, the crow remains a reminder of how far fear tried to go. But no one here's afraid anymore. Not since they learned who really held the power and who they should never mess with again. The woman with the watering can and a Delta Force badge in her back pocket.